So we've got another celebrity who misunderstands something that someone says and automatically jump to, well, it's about race. Because recently with the whole thing where Shang-Chi's coming out for like a 45-day release and then it will go on Disney+. So Bob Chapek, the CEO, he was talking about how it was going to be an interesting experiment, talking about the release strategy, until Simu Liu chimed in and started talking about race and stuff like that, talking about we are not an experiment. Just completely misunderstanding everything Bob Chapek said. I mean, I'm not here to defend Bob Chapek. They seem to be getting a lot of backlash at the moment. The people they pandered to are now it's coming around to bite them in the arse. I mean, with the whole Scarlett Johansson thing, and then you had Emma Stone almost gonna sue them until they threw her a sequel to Cruella because the first one did so well. But let's get into this and we'll see what Bob Chapek said in full, and then we'll see what Simu Liu said. Because Simu Liu he's one of those woke Hollywood weirdos. We know that much. The guy never stops talking about representation. Even though he's landed the main role in a film. But let's get into it anyway. So Bob Chapek says, on Shang-Chi, we think it's actually going to be an interesting experiment for us because it's got only a 45-day window for us. So the prospect of being able to take a Marvel title to service after going theatrical with 45 days will be yet another data point to inform our actions going forward on our titles. When we planned Shang-Chi, that title was planned on being released in a much more healthy theatrical environment. And at this point, unfortunately, due to distribution agreements that we have and due to just the practicalities of last-minute changes, it wouldn't be possible. So, I mean, from these, clearly Simu Liu didn't really pay any attention. It's like, because it's like really clear what the guy's saying. So I don't know how he's jumped to, we are not an experiment. It's like, no, that he's talking about the strategy. He's not talking about because you're Asian. But what is it with these actors? They're just so obsessed with race. It's like that's all you hear from them. It's like stop worrying about your race because no one cares really. No one. The majority of people in the world, they're not really bothered by what race someone is. But we have to keep pretending that that's the case. And this was what Simu Liu had to say in response. We are not an experiment. We are the underdog, the underestimated. We are the ceiling breakers. We are the celebration of culture and joy that will persevere after an embattled year. We are the surprise. I'm fired up to make history on September 3rd. Join us. Me personally, I ain't going to see this. I'm just out on going to see Marvel films. I'll watch it by other means. But it's amazing that no one's going, what are you talking about? Because I'm sure there's people going, oh yeah, they're definitely being, has to do with race, that is. You know, the people on Twitter that they're obsessed with race and all. But why he's going into this, we are the underdog, the underestimated. Who's saying you're underestimated? What? I honestly don't know what bollocks he's talking about. But this shows you how a lot of these actors are really just dumb. They are dumb. So I don't know why people listen to anything they have to say. It's like the majority of people in Hollywood are stuck up their own arse. And it's like I've said, because with this guy, he's always talking about representation. And like I've said in previous videos I've done, I think the reason why you do get people that do that is just to get a job. Like, basically to guilt trip people into giving them a job. Rather than just letting your skills show for themselves. But, well, that's not the world we live in anymore. It's not about your merit. Because it's the same thing that happened with, I forget the guy's name now, but he was in Mortal Kombat. where he was saying to like about the Amazon Lord of the Rings show. Oh, where's your love for Asians? Can't the Asians get any? And like, first of all, there is no Asians in Middle Earth. But he was clearly doing that to guilt trip them into giving him a job. Because why else would you do that? But that's what a lot of people need to understand. It's like, see if you're Chinese or something. Do you honestly think Simu Liu cares? Nah, he's an adult pretender who's getting paid a lot more than everyday people. I honestly do not think he cares either way how anyone else's life is. But then we've got to keep going through this whole, like, oh, to make history. It does annoy me that they're so forgetful. You know, Bruce Lee, to these people, Bruce Lee wasn't a thing. All the Chinese cinema through like the 50s to now, have they ever moaned at, like, in China, oh well, we need to get more white people in there, to be honest. It's like, no. But it's the same Black Panther thing. It's like everybody forgot that there was films with all black cast. It was a thing. Eddie Murphy films. It's like, but no, they conveniently forget about that because they have to make it seem like, oh well, it's never happened before, so it's so big in cinema history. It's like, yeah, you may be the first Marvel film. Well, not even that. You're not the first Marvel film to have black people in it. Blade came out. Blade was the first Marvel film that ever came out. But they act as if that didn't happen either. But with Simu Liu coming out with it, it's no surprise that he just misunderstood the entire thing. Because he's so caught up in like racial stuff that he forgets about the real world. He's living in a fake reality where like all these Nazis are walking about. I've never seen them, but to each his own. But I see this film being another flop for Disney and Marvel anyway. I reckon it will be the better film out of Black Widow and the Eternals. I reckon that will be the case. But I just don't see it like passing Black Widow. It will be about level, I reckon. I reckon it would be the same. And I've seen people moaning about, oh, well, it didn't get promoted. It didn't get promoted enough. It's like, I'd say, well, it did. Just the promotion stuff was just terrible. The trailers didn't look any good. I didn't have any interest in it, really. I might watch it if it turns out it was actually half decent. But I'm not interested in going to the cinema to see it. I'm not interested in giving Marvel money so they can lecture me. That's just out of the question. But yeah, these actors, they're for the most part idiots. It's like no one should take these people serious. But it's just modern Hollywood. Simu Liu is just another NPC from Hollywood. But I think that's all I've got to say on that anyway. So if you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.